Hi, my family calls me Wendy, and I know I look homeless, but I promise you I'm not. I live with my daughter and her husband and my grown grandchildren. And let me tell you just briefly about me. I had my own place in Little Rock, living in housing, and I complained, about some repairs that needed to be done, including whenever my bedroom ceiling fell in from neglect, from the roof leaking. And I complained about it to HUD. And it put me on the bad list for the landlord and the managers. From that time forward, I was given a hard time. They didn't kick me out, they couldn't. But they did give me a hard time. And when it came time for my HUD to be renewed, the new manager purposely done my paperwork wrong. And I know this was on purpose because I told them that the dates and the amounts weren't right. And they told me that the new manager would fix it. And of course, when they finally got a new manager, she never could find the paperwork for it to be fixed. And so therefore, as far as my knowledge goes, my new HUD application or updated renewal never got turned in because the numbers and the dates were incorrect. It was never fixed. And whenever I asked to redo it, they told me once it's been done, it can't be redone, is what the managers told me. And anyway, so here I am, staying with my daughter and her family because I couldn't afford full rent. And I believe I was run off in that way because I had complained about the poor housing conditions that I had. Anyway, to make the best of the situation, I have resorted to coming out to the tent as a retreat. I come out here to get away from cigarette smoke and vape and loud adult grandchildren that make me nervous. So when I'm inside, even though they smoke in their bedroom or outside on the front porch, when they open up that door, the house just reeks of cigarette smoke and vape juice in the air. And I have emphysema and asthma and allergies and lupus, and I'm a cancer survivor, thank God. But I start hacking and sneezing and wheezing, and my chest hurts, and my head hurts, and my blood pressure starts going up, and the noise just makes it worse. So I come outside to hang out in the tent. The problem with that is it has started getting cold. And now I have winterized my tent that I'm very grateful for. My son gave me 5-6 years ago, used, and it was a gift to him, and is dry rotted from being in a trunk for so long. And I have winterized it to help keep it warm in here. As you can see, I'm not real cold, and I have a sweater on, but other than that, I'm not real cold. I'm running around in my socks. I wanted to let the people know how I am keeping the tent warm and how I'm not freezing to death with 11-degree weather and with 5-degree wind chill factor. Whenever I put up my tent, I put down a heavy-duty tarp, and it was just an 8x10, and I put my tent up over it, and then before putting on the rain fly, I put on a cheap painter's tarp that you use to cover your furniture whenever you're painting. It was just a cheap $1.25, and I put that over the top, and then I put the rain fly on. After that, I put a heavy-duty tarp on top of the tent, and it was a 12 by 16, and of course it was too long, and I had to roll it up, on the ends and put it up close to the tent. Well, what I had done was I duct taped the bottom tarp up to the sides of the tent to make it like a tub, a homemade tub for the tent to help keep moisture out, because this floor leaks. This tent's dry rotted, and even though I'm very grateful for it, it's old, and the water just comes right through it. So to protect myself, I made a homemade tarp tub for the outside of the tent on the bottom, and then I rolled up the bottoms of the top tarp, and duct taped it around. I made sure to leave airflow so I wouldn't suffocate to death in here on days it's not so cold. And then on the inside, I lined the floor with another thin layer of painter's tarp, plastic, and then on top of that I put a thin bedspread, cotton bedspread, with a few throw rugs on top. I have a cot in here so that I can relax on, and I lined it with windshield protector, like the reflectors, the silver reflector, to hold the heat out of the car. I use it to hold the heat in me on the cot. On top of that, I have 5 pillows lined in it, and with a thick sheet over top of that, a heavy bedspread with a couple heavy-duty throws in between, and that's what I use. Other than that, I have a small 400-watt electric heater I got for just $9 and something, and a heating pad that I use on the floor or on the cot. And of course it doesn't stay down because I don't run it at nighttime. I don't use any electronics at night. I'm afraid that something will fall on it and catch it on fire. So what I use instead is hand warmers. Those hot warmers, I put one by my feet and one by my midsection. And then if at nighttime I wear my my beanie cap, my toboggan, and gloves if it's cold enough if I'm out here at nighttime, because like I said, I do not live out here. I retreat out here because I breathe better out here. I'm more relaxed out here. It's quiet, and even though I'm missing my Aussie so bad, my min pin that I couldn't have because she's not allowed to have pets, and that I'm trying to get back as soon as I can get my own place, then it's just quiet, peaceful, allows my blood pressure to come down, allows self-healing. And of course I'm protected because there's a lot of wacky people out there that don't always want to do the best to somebody, and there's wild animals, so I have to protect myself. Now, I wanted to let people know this because it's too cold out there. And if you've never had to be in a tent and you don't know what to do, I wanted you to know that you can make it to where it's easier to keep it warmer. Me, I have sheets, and I have bedspreads, I have sleeping bags, throw blankets, and I have wraps that I have lined the tarp with on the inside. I also have solar chargers, and I have solar lights, And then I have my regular battery operated lights and a couple battery chargers. I have a cooler to keep my juice in and water, and a little table. Like I said, I do not live out here. It's just temporary. My goal is to get back in housing and eventually get me a small piece of land where me and Ozzy could live and out the rest of our days. Have some chickens. I know that sounds weird, but I love chickens. And I also want a minivan or a camper van. I would love for me and Ozzy to go to New York and travel from New York to San Francisco. See the Federal Reserve lands in between, stop at the campgrounds there, go to several different churches. I want to do volunteer work to help with homeless people, because at one time in my life I was homeless. Whenever I was battling TIAs really bad from problems, residual problems I had from having breast cancer and having surgeries and blood clots and problems coming up over all of that, I became so sick, I didn't even know how sick I was. And I couldn't even take care of myself. And there was nobody in the family willing to take care of me, and that could. And the ones that wanted to couldn't. They didn't have the means. And at the time, my son was in the military, still is, and my daughter, both my daughters were living with other people, and who didn't want me staying with them because they didn't want someone they had to take care of. Sad as it is, it's true. Sometimes you just can't depend on family. And so I was homeless. I was truly homeless, walking the streets homeless. And I seen a lot. And I cried so much for people. And it's my goal to travel from one side of the United States to the other side in a camper van, just me and my dog, maybe with someone else if they want to come and help, doing volunteer work, helping people along the way. And of course I want to go by Houston way, because there's a big beautiful church I want to go to down there. I want so much to be a part of that. I do their virtual classes, and they've helped me out a lot. And I would love to go there and do some volunteer work for them too. Now, once again, I'm telling you, I'm just putting this out here because it's really cold. And not far from here, there's a homeless encampment, and I worry about them. I know not to go up to them because they can hurt you. In self-defense, being scared of someone trying to approach them or hurt them, they could accidentally hurt you trying to protect themselves. I don't want to put myself in that situation. So I thought, how can I get it out there of the little bit that I've done to my old tent that's dry rotted, that I'm still grateful for, that still serves its purpose, just needed a little renovation, I guess you could say, and help people. Well, there's a lot of people like me that like YouTube. So I decided to try to make a little video and showing people what I do. Now, I know most people don't have an extension cord, so heavy-duty extension cords where they can run a little heater or a heating pad out to their tent. But I do know that if there's any way you can get hot warmers, especially the 18-hour ones, you can put 2 of them in your cot, one by your feet, one by the edge of the cot near your midsection, and wear layers and a toboggan and gloves at night, and at least 2 or 3 pairs of socks. And you'll find yourself coming out of that because you'll get too hot. So you got to be careful not to get too hot, because you don't want to start sweating and then get, wet or cause a lot of condensation in the tent and then wind up with pneumonia or hypothermia. I just wanted to put it out here so that hopefully my demise can be helpful to somebody. And just to say, God bless you, stay warm, and I love you, every one of you.